guys, this is episode 6. Just a quick one this week, just a bit of a recap of the gold action that we saw over the last sort of 6 or 7 days, obviously not including the weekend. But I mean, what a different sort of pace we had from sort of last week's close. Last week's close, this is where we were sort of just broken this sort of channel that I said had been respecting all the way through October. And that was just that big sharp drop off, and I said, look, you know what, it was on notice here, like really it was, because it gave up the channel, but it wasn't time to go, okay, yep, bang, let's put the house on the shorts, because you need the confirmation. And this is what I was saying, is this is why I'm happy to wait for the confirmation so you don't get stung in these little operations. If we go back, I'll just put the link as I normally do, just in the top right up here, if you want to sort of see where our sort of analysis was leading into this trading week. But basically, we were expecting this sort of little bit of pushback through the start of the week and that. So we're starting to see this sort of bit more of a sort of structured line that it was respecting coming down here. I did have it on a slightly different angle, but of course, you know, as the sort of price action develops and that, you need to sort of be able to sort of tweak these things a little bit to sort of see what they're really working off. But yeah, certainly we got that early week push, sort of with the strength with gold coming up here, and pretty much, as I said, respected that sort of falling resistance, coming back down, and, you know, hit that little stop hunt sort of part that we were talking about last week. I mean, how many people do you think had their stops probably around here? Probably not a great deal, as we didn't see this big sort of waterfall drop down here, but I guarantee you that there's some people that would have been sort of hanging with their stops around here, and this is why it's just come down here, and you've seen this sharp sort of rejection back up, because they've sort of thought, look, you know what, here's the chance to go. And we said that this line along here, that this band of 1763 zone, which obviously again had been that sort of top side of this sort of real sort of consolidation patch here, it was the back test over here, and here we've just sort of seen it once again sort of be respected again, and it came here, clipped that zone, and just it took off, and it never really looked back. I mean, it sort of came very strong through. I mean, this is on a 4-hour candle, so I mean, we were looking at sort of 4th, so was it maybe Thursday, Friday or so. Well, it must have been about Thursday around this zone here, sort of coming up and testing this topside. And if you sort of follow me on my Twitter account, that's YB86, you sort of see that, like I pointed out, you got this little nice pop and back test. And, you know, I'm very big on the sort of the break and retest thing, and it doesn't matter which way you're sort of trading. Like if you're just trading zones, if you're trading, you know, sort of rising or sort of falling supports, resistances, these kind of things, and that I always like to see that sort of back test for a confirmation of a move, because, you know, I mean, support is resistance and vice versa, and once it sort of pops through that resistance, you want to see it come back here, give it a test. Okay, that's fine, we're on the top side here. As I see, it respected this sort of zone that we'd previously marked out beautifully, so it came back, tested the top side, and just it took off, really. We did see this, like this little spike, this tail down here though. This was during the NFP, so I'm not sure if everybody saw the print, but basically the numbers came in above expectation, really beat what they sort of printed last month by, you know, 100-120% or something like that. And so, like, the headline figure was like, okay, boom, that's good for USD. And you saw dollar rise, and you saw the gold drop. And this is the little drop down here. But then sort of when you look at it a little bit closer, you're still seeing a couple of the other figures. It's not just the headline. The headline will get that initial reaction. And I think that's why the NFP particularly, people say, you know, if you are going to trade it, don't go for the first move, because the first move always tends to be a little bit of a fake out, and this is a perfect example. We saw that sort of headline figure much higher than it was last month, ahead of expectations, and the price immediately, well, gold sort of drops down, dollar goes up, but then, you know, you're seeing the participation levels are still a little bit lower than probably what they want, and, you know, you got the sort of the wages rising a little bit, but again, that's probably in line to sort of attract more people back into the industries and get them working again. So, you know, it's really sort of, yes, okay, the headline number was good, but I think there's still some trouble sort of going on around there. So, you know, you saw sort of price move up, and if you had a look on the DXY as well, at this sort of time, like the DXY had just been ripping, and, you know, it was actually funny because gold and the US dollar, not always, but a fair bit of the time, they're running inverse to each other. So gold up, sort of dollar down, and vice versa. But they've been really sort of moving in tandem and moving in sync. So both gold and dollar going up all week. And so you're really sort of seeing a little bit of a change in the price action around it all. This spike down here, like the dollar had already been running up quite heavy, sort of leading into this. The inverse of this, back to sort of how gold and sort of dollar sort of normally sort of work together, actually sent DXY to a new yearly high. And sort of colleague of mine sort of actually put across a chart sort of showing that a lot of the sort of non-commercial traders at the moment are actually sort of reducing their long exposure to the USD. So you saw prices hit those yearly highs and swiftly rejected. So I think that was another thing that sort of added to this sort of flip, which helped sort of, gold really sort of dominate towards into the close of the week. So, I mean, the difference you're seeing with these ones here, I mean, like, as I said, these are the kind of places above these zones where people like to have their stops and that. But what you're really looking for is not only just the break of the channel, but you also like to, as I say, you like those confirmation points, and the confirmation points being the most previous highs or lows depending on the direction that you're going. So we're seeing it down here, price coming down. It was on notice as it broke out of this channel, coming down here, but this was the zone, and this is what I was saying last week. I wasn't going to jump on the shorts till I got a confirmed move down under this zone, close down here, back up, retest, and then go down, because this is what I was expecting really to happen, for the price to have this nice structured move down, they clip this zone to take off and move up, and that's what we saw with the price action of it all. So yeah, it's definitely looks like the bulls are not only sort of back in control, but it looks like it's actually sort of confirming a lot of the higher time frame moves. So as I say, we sort of got this sort of medium term upward channel coming here. We've had a bit of a cool off coming up here, and then so coming up, we're coming back, we're retracing, and now we've gone up. We're passing those previous highs over here, which is basically confirming another leg up. So personally, there's a couple of different targets you could be looking for in this sort of setup. One would be almost sort of like a flag measured move pattern. So you're taking the lows up here to the highs, and then you're sort of dragging it out this side over here. So that's one sort of price target you could be looking for. But I still really think that this overwhelming sort of range that we've got going sideways here is going to cause a little bit of an issue moving up through here. So, I mean, if we go back a couple of weeks, I think it was episode 3, I was talking about that once we started to sort of get up around this 1830, then we'd be starting to look for, if you weren't already long, some new long positions to sort of move in on. So as I said, we've got a couple of zones marked up here. So I'll just grab these out of the way and sort of clean the chart up a little bit. But we're sort of seeing a move come up here. I'm expecting this to create a bit of an issue, this 1830 zone. So I expect a lot of sort of people to sort of be like sort of going, okay, this is the next spot that we're going to try and knock it back from. But this is where the bulls are running for. They're running for the 1830 zone. So, you know, what we're looking for price action here, we've got the breakout, we've got the back test, we've got the move up. So you've got a measured move of this sort of move just here, which will take you up, probably up around this sort of 1830. I expect for price to sort of come back down here. And now we can start to look at where we're going to sort of either add to our long positions if we've closed a couple. I mean, sort of if we're still holding them, or if we want to, you know, sort of close a couple at 1830 and then look to re-enter. So then you're looking for the back tests, and, you know, given the recent price action in a couple of these things, these top previous highs are probably a pretty good zone to be looking for. Certainly when I was looking at GJ, I was trying to get long on that for a while, and I thought that the previous highs probably wouldn't have held because, you know, occasionally it's, I mean, that's an obvious point, and so they'll overshoot it a little bit, so you can try and get down a little bit lower, but I'd say these are probably the zones. So I'd say between 1800 and 18.7, we'll probably see a little bit of a sort of pullback to it all. If we can find a nice base around this zone though, and then come up and tackle this again, then you're looking at either, you know, it could possibly be this kind of consolidation pattern, sort of moving along here, or we could sort of alternatively see something like this: up, back test, up, resistance, back here, and then it could just launch through. And then, of course, back down, retest, bang, and on its way. So there's a couple of options we're looking for if we want to sort of add to positions, closing out on 1830. But certainly, I mean, this was a very nice structured move. And that's the thing that sort of gold, as I've said, it respects the charts. Like, you know, there's these little weird sort of bits of sort of flare out moments and that. But, you know, overall, this has been a nice, fairly well structured and chart respected move coming all the way through here. So certainly, yeah, we're looking like the bulls are back in charge for this all now. I'd expect 1830 to be the next sort of point of resistance, and then we can sort of work out what we want to do from there. Whether it sort of be come back here, I'll probably be closing a couple of longs around 1830. Just, you don't want to miss these things, because what you can also see with this, I mean, you never know with gold, you never know with the USD. The USD still was hitting yearly highs. That is bullish, despite sort of people wanting to sort of sell down from that point. Whatever it is, it's got the sort of power behind it. And if gold and USD run as they normally do, and the US dollar continues to break out, that is going to cap the upside potential for gold. So I will be closing a couple of longs around this 1830 zone, just for the sort of point that if we do get something that comes up here and maybe it sort of ranges like this, there's still a chance then that you could be coming down, and really we could just be looking for this massive long range. So as you see, respected here, respected, and boom, boom, and you could be just going for almost another one of these sort of channels just moving back down over here. I don't think that'll happen. Honestly, I think sort of gold's pretty much in charge for this at the moment. But, you know, there's no point sort of riding it all the way up, not taking any profit for the work and the time that you've put in for it, and then riding it all the way back down. So I'll be taking some profits around this 1830 zone when we come up there. And as I said, I do expect it to clip it. And then sort of we can look, as I said, sort of around this 18 to 1810 zone, try and look for some sort of bottoming patterns. Because once it comes back down, and it will, you got to sort of think that, you know, nothing dies in one go. So if it goes to 1830, comes back down, we'll be looking for some sort of bottoming patterns around here for that next push up. And, you know, if that push up then fails to find the bulls and the buying power to push it up to sort of retest 1830, then you might see a bit more of a dribble down or a dribble sideways. But, you know, I think definitely 1830 for the first point. I'll be looking for a basing pattern back here. I'll be looking for more buys, and then I'll be looking to target and also break through that 1830. Cool, guys. Just a quick one this week. Good luck with the trading. See you next week.